Steve and myself are a little tired as we sit here and get ready for this podcast. It's been a long week already.
It has, and it was a week. It wasn't just like a couple of days. Like, it was a long week. Yeah. People don't realize when you do like big events and you travel, like a lot of times it's 2 or 3 days of prep. The day after, we traveled late night last night to get here in time to do the podcast.
And it was just long enough to where like you start to get used to the time zone too, so it kind of throws you off a little bit.
Right, sure.
And then it wasn't like it was 2 days.
100%, because that's the toughest part. Is the 3-hour time difference from here to Atlanta. Yeah. Atlanta is 3 hours different. So when we got up this morning to fly out here, we got up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get to the airport by 4:15. Yeah. So we're all screwed up. We slept a little bit on the plane. I know Steve was out. I was watching. He slept the whole 5-hour flight.
See, I can't sleep on a plane, so I don't know. I just can't.
It's hard for me.
I was absolutely out. Well, here's what we were doing, guys. for Culture Collusion. It was a fantastic show. We had a great time. We hosted trade night on Friday night, which was an absolute blast. And
let me stop you right there. Steve, great job.
Thanks.
We walked up. So Steve left early from the show. Well, no, we didn't leave early.
Didn't even leave early.
He went over there right after the show. We worked all day Friday. Steve, we went home and took a nap. We're not going to tell everybody what the rest of the 5 of us did. We went home and took a nap. Steve went and set up for trade night. When we walked up, everybody was blown away. He did a great job setting everything up. Game day was represented. Not only were we represented, like we said, we took over. And some Irishman once said, "We're not here to take part. We're here to take over." That's exactly what we did when we went to Atlanta. So good job, Steve.
Thank you. And it was fun. We had a great time. And the trade night that we hosted was really, really unique. So it was actually at the Braves ballpark. It was at a location they call the Battery, and it has shopping and food. And we actually ate there when we first got in on Thursday. We went and ate right across from where we were at, which was live at the Battery.
Right.
And once we did that, we looked down. I was like, this venue is beautiful. And so we got to be there. You know, we had people trading cards everywhere, and it was so much fun. You had guys popping up on tables. They were out front. There was a seating area outside. People were out front there too.
And it was cold that night.
Yes, it was.
Freezing cold. And those guys were still out there trading and doing their thing.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I was going to ask. Was it even nice weather, or was it like better than here?
First day was beautiful. We all got off the plane and we're like, man, this is nice. We all should have brought shorts. This is great.
Yeah.
And then it got cold and rainy the rest of the trip. It was not good.
This was fun because what you had here is, first off, the trade night was actually presented by Collectible, who also is doing the trade night with us during the main collective here in Las Vegas next month. That starts tomorrow. Anyways, so them and Drip, and we were doing a break and all this stuff, but Collectible gave an open bar on top of it, which was so amazing, so great. So everybody was drinking and just having fun. We were doing that. And this was something you caught, Jimmy. What happened here?
So, yeah, I look over. So everybody's looking for, tables and places to set up trades and do their thing. And all of a sudden I look over and these guys are wiping off the shuffleboard, the salt on the shuffleboard. I'm like, what are they doing? And I'm just watching them. And then they go get a rag and clean it all off. Next thing you know, boom, slabs start falling on the shuffleboard. I'm like, good for them, man. They're going to find a spot to get some trades done. And they sat there all night doing their
it's a perfect spot, though. Like it's like a long table that's like just wide enough to where you can get that interaction. So it was like a perfect setup.
It was absolutely perfect, man. But what was neat is that was the environment. Yeah. This is a great, to show you the environment. And then we partnered with Drip. I ran a break, which was a lot of fun. We started everything in a buck. Santa Jimmy got a beer or so, and don't tell the baker. And he ended up coming over and was juicing the break with like a pack of Mosaic basketball fast breaks. Started at $1. Oh, by the way, there's a $100 bill that goes with it.
Oh wow!
It was so much fun. It was crazy fun. I had so many breakers come talk to me. Do you give away cash all the time when you do breaks?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, we give away a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I had a ton of fun with it. But you guys had something happen out there, which was yesterday.
Oh, yeah. So a guy comes to me the first day of the show, and he has a case of NT. And he heard through the grapevine, through a couple of the guys I was asking. We went strictly to buy wax. Because you know how much work we've been ripping through here at the shop and then all the streams that we're doing and everything. So we were on a mission, all of us. Everywhere all of us went, we're buying wax. So I told the guy we're looking for 2020 wax, and he comes over and he's like, well, I got something you might be interested in. I'm like, okay, fill me in. He pulls out a case of 2020 National Treasures football. And if, everybody listen to the podcast, or if you are new to collecting, 2020 National Treasures football is the holy grail. Yeah. Like, you can hit an RPA in that of Joe Burrow. Just a regular to 99 or something for 40 to 50K. So you're looking at, that's a lot of money for one card that you can pull out of these boxes.
Right.
And the boxes aren't cheap. The boxes are selling anywhere between $7,000 and $8,000. Yeah. So the guy came back and he gave me a deal. And the deal was, he had a complete sealed case plus one box. But he wouldn't sell me the complete sealed case unless I bought the one box and opened it live at the show.
So we thought, well, what a great idea. You know what? we've done a partnership with Drip. We're also partners with Whatnot. Right. So we go ahead and let's crack a stream on Whatnot, and we'll show everybody on Whatnot we're opening this live from Atlanta. Right. So we go on, we crack the stream open. It's also on IG, and
Steve has a great idea. Let's go grab some of the other Whatnot guys, have them come over, crack their streams, so they also can see it happen live. Right. We're ripping it. Who doesn't want to watch a box that NT rips?
Right.
Everyone wants to see it.
Everybody wants to see it.
Absolutely. So all of a sudden, within about, I would say this all happened very quickly too. Within about 30 minutes, we went from dropping, hundreds and hundreds of dollars of cash on the table, and surrounded our booth with everybody that was at the show. Everybody and their mom came to watch what was going on. So it was a fun experience. It definitely.
Well, and then here I got to set this up. So Jimmy goes to Jacob and says to Jacob, he said, "You know what? Since we have to buy this and open it, why don't you and I split it? We'll have some fun with it. We'll make it a little gamesmanship with you and I. We'll play around. We'll hit draft it after. We'll play with it." Right. He goes, "Okay, I'm in." Okay, so that's why this is important, because then you guys rip the box and what happens?
So first off, talking Jake into a $2,000 gamble. That's easy to do. If you guys know Jake from the break room, he's gambling. He's buying lots of spots. He's betting big all the time. So I basically said, "Hey, you want to do this?" And instantly he jumped out there. He's like, let's do it.
He did posture. I think it was just for TV. He's like, let me do it. Yeah.
So we ended up ripping this box live on Whatnot. Everybody's having a blast. So in the National Treasures case, Joe Burrow is a redemption. So, going into it, leading into this, we're all sitting there talking. I hope there's a redemption in there. There's a redemption in there. And son of a bitch, there was a redemption. Could you imagine that all the luck that there would be a redemption in that one box?
Wow. So they peel through the cards. Jimmy peels through the cards. Barry Sanders. Hits an RPA, nothing real big. Hits an RPA of Jonathan Taylor.
Number
25. We're like,
decent card.
That's a nice card. That's a nice card for this. Caesar Redemption. The sweat starts. They start going down. Here it is. Card 203. Usually lower numbers is a good thing. Starts to go. Sees the first letter of the first name. And just instantly is like, pulls it off. Isaiah Simmons is a redemption.
Linebacker.
From the Cardinals.
He was a hot story when he first came out. He ran the fastest 40 at the draft.
Yeah.
Everybody was all over him.
Stud in college.
Yeah.
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. Couldn't do anything. I was hoping the Giants drafted him after seeing him, run the way he did, and then all of a sudden he didn't have a very good year.
Yeah,
he was just mediocre at best.
So those two then, of course, went into pout mode for the next hour or so.
At least 45 minutes.
I thought it was just an hour. That's why you're seeing this here, because then we got back to the room. Jake has the box. He's getting ready to sleeve all the cards up. He actually opens the box and goes through them and looks at them and then starts to cry himself to sleep.
And so falls dead asleep. Just
dead
like that.
asleep, face out. That's how.
Tears in his blankie. He's out. We lost. And after all said and done, when we sell the cards that we did hit, we're probably going to lose, probably about $2,000 a piece. Yeah. Which is not fun. Losing $2,000, but that's a game that we all play.
It is. When you rip wax, man, you always know that's a little bit of the gamble that you're going to do, especially when you rip big like that. But
however, my tears did not last long.
They did.
Because my boy, Steve, as we're on the Whatnot stream, comes and I hear him talking. I'm like, you better not be talking about my Herbert. If you know me, and you know what I have a 10 of 10 National Treasures booklet, Justin Herbert on-card auto, with a piece of the football relic. That's probably one of my prized possessions that I have in my personal collection that I bought a while ago, or I traded into and paid good money for it. But I hear Steve out of the corner of my eye, see him walking over there showing it to somebody on Whatnot, hear him talking. And the guy throws out a crazy number. He says, "Yeah, give me 25 grand." The guy says, "No, do 20 and I'll buy it right now." And I'm like, is he serious? And I looked at Steve and he's like, "All right, I'm dropping it. I'm dropping it right now."
So I put up an auction, right for a minute, because I want a little suspense.
Right.
I'm just, I'm a showman on there, right? So I put it up as an auction, put up 20 grand. Guy grabs it immediately. I'm like, all right, he's serious. Gets down. 3 seconds. 2 seconds. 1 second. Someone else jumps in.
Wow.
$20,000, 50. Right? And then it counts down, and that's it. And it goes, payment failed. Then the guy comments, "Oh, wrong card, bro. My bad." Guy was
trolling the whole time. Yeah.
So we're like, all right, fine, whatever. Then the original buyer says, "That sucks, man. I really wanted it." But the guy said, "All right, I'll pay it back up." I pinned it up for buying now. He bought it immediately and took the Herbie. So
then you really see me sulk for the next hour. There's about 2 hours left of the show, and they kept walking by. They're like, "Dude, you just sold a card for $20,000."
But it was your personal.
But it was my card that I love this stuff.
It was like a kid.
It was
Right,
This
yeah.
was, we talked about that. It was like getting rid of like your favorite child.
Yeah, it's one of those things where there's some cards that you're okay with letting go.
Yeah.
Move and flip them.
Yeah.
But that was one card that I really liked. It'll be better when the $20,000 in my bank account in a couple days, because when I fly off to Dallas next weekend, or we fly off or do the mint at the end of the month, and you see a guy out on the showroom floor dropping lots of cash, that's gonna be because of that Herbert. And we'll be in a new investments, and new babies will be back in my collection.
I like how you already used past tense. You said
I made sure I did a thing. I made sure I did a thing. So I did a deal, and I picked up a downtown Kyle Busch card, and made sure that we added something new to his PC.
So now I have a downtown Kyle Busch
to take place
in my National Treasure Herbert.
Wow, it doesn't sound like that's quite the matchup. But
No, but it's okay.
But Atlanta was a blast, and it was like they put a good show on the whole weekend. The show was good.
Morning, Chris. What's up, brother?
We had another trade night that was fun. That was hosted by eBay and by Bleecker, which was cool. Which was at the hotel, and that was really fun. And we went and did another deal there. Thank you to everybody who did deals with us this weekend, because it was amazing. We had a blast with you guys, and we had a good time. We had great dinners. Food was amazing. I mean, everything was really, really great. Like, the whole weekend came together, and our team rocked it. You gave me some credit, but I'm gonna give credit back to the team. Our entire team just really put it together this weekend.
They worked hard.
And that included our guys here locally on Whatnot, the guys that stayed and ran the shop, as well as the team that came with us. Like, overall, it was a great team experience.
And that's what we got to talk about a lot is when we get to go off and do these shows and get to do these things, we're leaving people back behind.
Yeah.
Because this machine does not stop.
Right.
The Whatnot team still keep going. The Facebook groups need to keep going. The store needs to still be done. The shipping needs to be done.
Everything needs to be done.
Still needs to be done. So everybody pitched in. They did their part. We got through. It was an awesome weekend. We're already talking to the next month and the next month. We're going to be trying to hit 2 or 3 shows a month. So you'll be seeing the Gameday crew rolling in your city near you soon, I'm sure.
We will be coming out and making a ruckus for sure. So, you talk about environment, you talk about things, you talk about there's a basketball game on Saturday night in Atlanta. And it's almost like the dude knew that like this was going on, and all these sports fans were in town, like from all over.
Yeah.
Trae Young goes off for 41 and 11 Saturday night against Roundup.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. You guys must have gone to at least a Hawks game or something while you were there, right? You were there for
We
5 days.
unfortunately just didn't get the time, and there was the Hawks game, and there was the
There's
soccer
soccer
game
on Sunday.
Right.
We talked about getting tickets to both, and unfortunately, working and slaving took over, and we didn't get to have any on at all. Which you guys know that's an absolute lie, because we had an absolute blast
We did.
there as well.
But we were also doing what we loved, and I think that was it. But yeah, so I mean, amazing weekend by Trae Young. But one thing for the sports weekend that I want to talk about was Moran. Right now, I keep telling you guys, like, I know Embiid is the favorite as the MVP, but damn if this guy isn't a real close second right now, because what he's doing with this Memphis Grizzlies team, and just like willing them to win if he has to by himself.
How many games are left?
There's
like
6
weeks.
19.
Yeah, there's 6 weeks
so
left
still
in
time.
the season. Yeah, there's still time. But here's the thing. So Moran, like, just touch on what you did. So what he did, they obviously had the All-Star break, so they didn't play over that weekend. It was like a long weekend. They've only had 2 games since the All-Star break, but he had his career high. That's the game you're talking about against the Chicago Bulls.
That's crazy.
He scored 46 points. He shot 15 of 28 from the field.
15 to 28.
15 of 28, 46 points, new career high for Ja. he outdueled DeMar DeRozan, who put in 30 points for himself. So
and that's a franchise record.
Yeah.
And I know it's the Memphis Grizzlies, like it's not the Lakers,
Yep.
it's not the Celtics, but I don't care. A franchise record anywhere in the NBA is big.
So we all know his time's coming up.
Yeah.
Just like the Zion contract's getting ready to run out, that's why they say he's not playing, because he wants to come back healthy and play for the Knicks. What is next for Ja? Does he stay or does he go?
I unfortunately think that it becomes that situation where he goes where he gets the next big shoe deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really how it's worked, right?
I think he's gonna go.
Shoe and
He's gonna
crypto
follow
now,
money
isn't it?
because why would you not? He's already had a major injury. And he
Right.
came back from that, so he's probably thinking in his head like the next
Right.
major injury, I might not be able to come back from. Why not get the payday?
Right.
So
And I don't blame him.
So
I mean,
we
you're
all
playing in a
think-
small market.
we all think he's gone.
Yeah, I think.
I think he signs a big deal with somebody like a Boston or somebody, a big team, big city. He's going somewhere. Just like
I can tell you who I
Zion.
know will go all in on him. Will be the Dallas Mavericks. They will go all in on him.
You mentioned Luka and Ja.
Luka,
Same court.
oh my gosh!
Then my Luka collection might actually
Well,
not.
and then no. Talk about Luka. So real quick, that's something. Even though we're a little ahead of the investment portion, Luka is one of those ones that right now I think it's like if you buy Luka high, you need to hedge and buy Luka low. Whatever you bought in your collection that you have high, you need to go buy low so you can hedge that number.
Beautiful that you said that because that's what I did this weekend. So
Yeah.
going back to what is it, July of last year at a show. Yeah, if you want to jump right
Let's
into
jump
it.
into it.
Jump right into the
Let's just make
investments.
this official.
Yes.
Well, yes, we will talk about
Make
it real
this
fast.
Because this is I think this is really important because I had so you guys actually before you say this they were giving me crap because we had a dinner reservation which they were leaving 15 minutes earlier and we said we were going to leave and I was in debt. I had like 5 collectors that all were like trading and stuff sitting around me and I was talking about investment advice with them. It was awesome for me. I love it because I love talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
But they're all standing there and finally they're like, guys, we're gonna save you and whatever. But these guys like were walking around the floor on Sunday, shopping the cards that we had just talked about that night, which was great. And Luke was one of them. So, anyways,
And he did. He came back and showed me because you weren't there at the table when he came by. He goes, "Hey, is Steve around?" I'm like, "No, he's walking the floor." He's like, "Oh, just let him know." I grabbed another Luka. So they were listening to you.
Yeah.
So and they did buy some stuff, and that's what I did over the weekend too. I bought a green for $2,300, a green numbered Luka PSA 10. I bought it for $2,300 last July. I was getting buried into it. At one point, it was like a $900 car. It's now creeped back up to about $1,400-1,500 over the last 6 weeks or so. So, what did I do? I'm into this one for $2,300.
Yeah.
I saw another one that was available. I got it for $11,500. Guess what? Now I'm into that card for almost $1,500.
Right. Right.
And that's what they're selling for now. So now I just saved myself. In the long run, if that card doesn't go up and it stays the same value, at least I can get out of that and not lose any money.
Right.
And this is a sharp collector move, and it's something that I see collectors make huge mistakes on. They'll get excited about something, buy into an excited market, and then all of a sudden, like you can not as on a grand of a scale you can do with Joe Burrow right now. If you bought into Burrow high right before the Super Bowl, you could probably go hedge a little bit with it, but you should hedge. You should always do this. And that is, if you buy in high into the market and it dips, you need to find what you think is a low point, buy, and then again, if it goes even lower, you might need to buy again. And I know that sounds crazy, but all you're doing is exactly what Jimmy did, which was hedge that so you get the number where it will be. So if he does need to move it, at least he's evening his money out, or maybe in some cases gains just a little bit.
Right.
Or
Better than
losing very little instead of losing a whole shit ton that I was possibly going to do.
And the thing with Luka, and this is something that came out recently, was Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban came out and said Luka has gotten really motivated over the last 6 weeks because he was being knocked on his conditioning, and they were saying he was dedicated like he was. And the media really went after him. Once the media went after him, that was it. Like he's turned a corner. And if you look at his game splits in the last 4 weeks or so, the hoodies in the building, the last 4 weeks or so, that's what you're seeing from Luka. And you're seeing that. So we'll stay with basketball since we're talking about investments. And the investment I want to talk about is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is so grossly undervalued right now for who he is as a player. He's like, because he's outspoken, he's in front of the media, it's a little surprising to me. But you can still buy like this Chrome PSA 10 for like There's just no reason that cards like this should go for. Sounds like the Warehouse Boys are having again. Warehouse Boys.
I'm like, what's going on? Are somebody playing the drums out
Yeah,
there?
they are.
Yeah.
But no, but Kevin Durant is really underpriced, and even if you want to get down on a lower level, you can find a lot of like baseline whites and even some of the black parallels and stuff. Some of the white base rookies are going for $25 to $30 for Kevin Durant.
No, that's great advice because Kevin Durant, he's got 2 championships already.
Yeah.
He's probably going to get a third at some point in the next 5 to 7 years. Because he's probably got about 70 years left, maybe.
Yeah.
He'll probably grab one more late in his career because he's not going to win with Brooklyn. I think we can all agree that. Well, we'll see how this whole last trade turns out.
The Kyrie thing is going to be the big deal there. That's going to be if Kyrie actually gets on the court now that Harden's gone.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing,
Ben
too.
Simmons.
Also, just to touch on the Kyrie thing, too, they're talking about, because you just saw New York lift all the mask mandates a couple days ago, so now they may delve into the whole vaccine status, and so that could open up things for Kyrie. They haven't made a determination on that yet, but that could open things up to where Kyrie gets on the floor, and then it's all of a sudden now he's your rested player that gets to have the fresh legs and push you right through. Like the way Philadelphia's playing the last couple of games has been ridiculous. We all thought that Maxey might take a hit,
Right.
but Maxey's been killing it.
He has.
Like I looked at the last 2 games from the All-Star break, and he's shooting 67%, and he put up 28 points the game right after the All-Star break, and then Saturday he put up 21 points. So he's getting his share.
His playing time's actually increased just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder if Harden went in instead of one on the court.
Well, Harden is killing it too because Harden shooting 57%. He's shooting 15 to 26 the last 2 games, and he's put up 27 and 29.
Put a triple-double up last night.
Yes.
And I think with
It's like
basketball,
a 3-headed monster right now.
well, with basketball more than any other sport, these guys are so into their heads and they get so involved in everything else that shouldn't really matter to them because they're just a basketball player.
Right.
But they're so involved in the trade negotiation talks and their friends and their buddies and doing this play, and if they're happy or they're pouting. I think in the other team sports, it's not as much. Football, if you pout or something, somebody's going to kill you. Somebody's going to take your living head off at some point. In basketball, they can sit there and pout and mope and
then
go
they get their
50%,
wish.
and then they get what they want.
Right. They get what they want. They get traded. They get shipped off.
In baseball, they'll sit your ass down. They won't play you.
Yeah.
In basketball, you have to play your stars. So these guys get in their heads. So when they get a new situation where they can get excited about, I think they do. They turn it on.
Yeah, that's why I love to see like the Lakers. I'm not a Lakers fan, even though the rest of my family. I love to see the Lakers kind of falling apart a little bit because what they thought was going to work and be this championship run is not. You got a dysfunctional Russell Westbrook in there. You got Anthony Davis, who's always hurt. The pieces just aren't working. And Carmelo Anthony, I think he's a good player. I think he probably will be, talked about in the Hall of Fame. But everywhere Carmelo's gone, they don't win. So I'm not saying that he's a bad player, but they don't win. Those teams don't win. He's been on some good teams. They just don't win.
And you had Russ saying last night coming out, like, ripping the fans, like, basically saying, like, it doesn't matter. I go home and I go wife and kids, and I don't care if you boo me. You can go boo yourself at home. Like, saying stuff like this, very toxic.
The dude's a cancer in the locker room. He's a great player, but he's a cancer in the locker room. And you thought you were going to bring him on this team and go and make some noise, and you're 6 games under 500.
Right. Well, and you speak of toxic. The relationship with the Cardinals and Kyler Murray. Now, I bring this up because this is an investment thing. So right now is a really weird time for you. It's you could sell Kyler if you want to, if you don't believe he's going to improve his situation at some point forth. But right now is not necessarily the time to buy Kyler either, because I think there's still going to be a bottom of the market. It's like any type of divorce. The first shots that we heard fired were, I want out, I'm gone, delete everything from the Cardinals. Then there's this run back today, and it was kind of his agent.
His agent wrote the letter, but I thought the letter was kind of stupid. He had two things that he wanted to throw out there, but basically what it all boiled down to is you read the entire thing. It was a waste of your time, number one. And number two, all they basically said was, I want an extension.
He's a year under
I
his rookie
want more money. I want more money.
He's a year. He's got a year left for his rookie contract. If you're the Cardinals and you're good, it still gives you a chance to build. Hasn't anybody learned from what Brady did in restructuring contracts over his career?
No. Like, these guys don't get it.
They don't.
They really don't.
The whole Dak Prescott Ezekiel Elliott conversation where they both wanted contracts at the same time.
Yeah,
well, and I get it. They want, everybody wants to get paid, and more power to them. I want to get paid. You guys want to get paid. We all want to get paid,
right?
Especially if you want to get what you're worth. But if you're in a team aspect, and you know that if you win a Super Bowl, you have a great chance of getting paid.
Yeah.
And at this point, Kyler looked good. He's looked, not great, but better than good. I think he would be in top 15 quarterbacks.
You heard Colin say it this morning, driving in. Colin on his show this morning was saying he straight up mailed it in. In the playoff game, he didn't want to run because he didn't want to get hurt.
Right.
100%.
Right.
Aaron Donald was going to kill him. So
right.
It's probably a good thing.
But that's it. But that, there's a touch on, so before they had Kyler Murray, the Cardinals were not a good team, right? And now they're, a good team. They're not a great team.
They weren't
They're
good with his first year.
They
were good after they got him and were able to apply pieces around him.
When they went out and got the best wide receiver to ever play the game.
And they went and got defensive help. They got Jamie Collins, right?
So
now they have J.J. Watt. They've got They made some moves that they were able to do financially because they weren't strapped. And here's the guy going, "Well, I'm going to strap. Let's go ahead and strap our team now."
Yeah,
I'm satisfied with going one and done.
Yeah, what does he think they're going to do if they go out and pay him a whole bunch of money? They're not going to be able to put the pieces around him. And Hopkins now is 29 years old going into this next season, and I know that 30 is the threshold for running backs, but Hopkins may not play till he's 33, 34 years old. So you got a couple years left of Hopkins, right? And you have Christian Kirk, who's becoming a free agent. So it's what are you going to put around him if...
And James Conner's not a young back, so...
Conner's 30 years old going into this season. They have Chase Edmonds, who has proven he's probably not an every down back.
So they need to draft... We know they have to draft a running back this year. They probably need a little bit more line help with him, right? We know that. Probably could use a tight end.
Yeah, they could use a tight end, but there's a lot of pieces they need to add, and they can't do it all in one draft, is the point.
Right,
So
and you're going to kill them for one more year instead of giving yourself a chance to at least get there, and then get your contract next year and be able to, kind of hedge that out.
Yeah, I don't understand how they do something like that. When you demand contracts, I understand you want to get paid, but you're also strapping the entire team that you're trying to win for.
Correct.
Yeah, it's just, it's disappointment. But my advice to you guys on this is, it could be a sell time if you don't believe in a long-term Kyler Murray. If you don't believe in it, now's the time to sell. It's not the time to buy. I think you're still going to get a 20 to 30% swing value on Kyler Murray moving down the road. Now, the big cards, they're probably not going to do that. It's going to be small amounts. But when you get into the mid-range cards, you're still going to be able to buy those. You're going to be able to make good trades and trade up and make some value. So to me, the value play is hold and wait, get a little closer to the season. Let's see how messy the divorce gets, because if it gets real messy, that is definitely going to affect values in the hobby. All right, so Kyler Murray right now, guys, I would say not a buy. Now, a guy that is a buy, and this, I don't know if this should necessarily be a surprise to anybody, but I'll explain why I'm talking about this guy. Is yes, Brady retired, and Kyle Trask is the quarterback in waiting, right? We know Trask is the quarterback in waiting, but what we know about him, too, is that there's a guy like Gabbert that's in front of him. I kind of like. Gabbert might start, but Trask is the deal long term. If anything, it's a Garoppolo syndrome. If he starts this year, Trask will be the guy coming in the back end of the season, but he's definitely there the following year. Either way, Trask is going to quarterback this team. And that got solidified yesterday. And that's because we had a retirement, correct?
Yeah, you had Ali Marvin retired from the offensive line, 28 years old.
Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Just walks away.
At 28.
28 says, I care about my health, I'm out. 7 years, I'm good.
Yeah. And when you're an offensive lineman, 7 years of just getting pounded on the line of scrimmage every single play. I don't fault him for it. 28 is early to retire, but he's made his money. He's been a Pro Bowler. He wants to preserve his body.
When you're a Pro Bowler, though, and you're a team that is quarterback centric, which that team is pretty quarterback centric.
Right.
I mean, those teams aren't yet. But you're going to have to make a move. And so now, what do they need? They need line help, which means they're not going out and making any crazy moves with assets to trade a Trask for a proven quarterback. They're not going to make that move. They just don't have the assets to do it. They were already tight to do it. Right. There was the rumors about Green Bay and the possibility of an Aaron Rodgers deal and all this stuff. Now they don't have the assets to move.
Right.
Because Aaron Rodgers isn't going to want to sign long term if you just had your best offensive line retire early.
Yeah.
So my advice to you here is Trask is still a buy. You didn't buy him 5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. You kind of missed the bottom of the market, but he's definitely not at the top of his market. If you do buy Trask, though, my suggestions is buy autos that are parallels, color parallels, numbered. Find find those cards, that's going to give you a little bit better value. And at the price point you can buy Trask right now, this card right here, I think you can buy for $175. Right? Spectre RP, I think this is number 50. Right? Just gives you an idea of the value that you can get for him. And just all you need him to do is start. He doesn't have to be good. Right? You can add 30% to the top.
It's going to be a quick turnaround, too, because what you're going to see is, we always say, like in football, there really is no off-season because you just ended with the Super Bowl, right? You basically get about a month off, and then now everyone's all talking about the Combine, right? So then the Combine comes through, and then you have all this draft process come through. So what will happen is you have this quick turnaround. So if you're buying Trask now, you have to look and see what Tampa Bay is looking at in the draft. Even if that means they're looking at somebody on a 4th or 5th round as a quarterback to bring in, you're going to have a smaller window to sell Trask. If they don't draft a quarterback, I don't think they bring in, like you said, I don't think they bring in a free agent. I think they roll with Gabbert, who's obviously he's 31 going on 32, so that he's no spring chicken. You have Gabbert and you have Trask, right? So you know what you have. So now, guess what? If they don't draft somebody, now all those cards start shooting up again just because they didn't draft somebody.
And I'll be honest with you, it's a franchise that with Brady being gone, probably needs that little kick in, right? And a new quarterback does it. People get excited about the new quarterback, and they might make that move if they think that they've fallen off enough to not be as competitive as they might be. Yeah. They might make that move. So Trask again, I think is a buy right now. I think he's a good buy. I think there's a couple quarterbacks that are good buy. This is definitely a time to buy him. I don't think you're going to miss at this point.
No, you have a small window. You have a couple-month window right now.
Just make sure when you go to sell, don't try to wait 10 weeks if you think you're buying to just sell the Trask cards. You should probably move them then. And if he becomes a superstar Hall of Famer, then you know what? Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
But he's not.
Now, one other thing I want to mention to you guys was, I keep saying where there's smoke, there's fire, right? We all know that. Major League Baseball had it leaked out on Friday night that they'd signed a collective bargaining agreement. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't signed. Players were told to report by their agents. So guys were making flight arrangements and all this stuff and everything. And now the word is that it might not. And I wonder if baseball's just trying to get themselves heard and seen with everything that's going on. You've got players in basketball putting up huge numbers. Yeah. The Lakers falling off, which is a big story and imploding. Yeah. You've got all these things. The big trades just happened. I wonder if they're kind of playing a game where it's like, let's get to the media frenzy before we do this. The story on ESPN said games would start after March 8th for spring training. So it doesn't give a lot of times for pitchers and catchers and stuff like that. The thing today is they're far apart. But here, guys, I'm telling you now, you are not buying any of the baseball stuff, especially for guys that will be playing in a major league uniform this year, any cheaper than you will from this weekend to probably next. I think that's about it. Because you're going to start seeing everybody going to buy baseball, everybody jump up there and take advantage of that. So I think you guys should really, really consider that if you were thinking about buying something in baseball. I know you have been. You've been big on a couple of players. I don't want to give away your stuff, but
my trade secret.
He's been big on a couple of players. But there are some guys out there. That you can buy. And like if I was to give you a few, Jared Kelenic, his autos are way underpriced right now, guys. Heston Kjerstad is a guy that's going to play with the big league club this year. It looks like he's healthy. You're buying him for dimes on the dollar of what he was going for. He's an absolute purchase right now. And in fact, I would argue that probably him and a couple of the other Baltimore Orioles, Ryan Mountcastle, those guys, because they're going to make a lot of noise in the East this year. And then, watch hitters in the NL East. Watch those guys because you might have been real, real high on those guys, but they've got a gauntlet to go through to play in division.
We already talked about the Mets. Last podcast that we did, and I think we're still spot on.
Yeah,
I put a little money on the Mets to win the East, but I'm also going to put it on to win the whole thing. Once they get to that 3-game, 4-game playoff scenario where you only have to win 4 games, and you're going through those run of 3 pitchers, there's not many that's better at 1, 2, 3 than those.
They're going to have a top-line starter coming out of the bullpen.
Yeah, so. The Mets are a complete buy. Their hitting is going to be way better. We already talked about a sneaky Pete Alonso pick for
Lindor. Buying Lindor rookies right now might be the move.
Yeah, because he's also going to have.
Well, and he's a sexy player. he gets seen on stuff. People talk about it. They want to have discussions about it. And you need that when you're talking about investments in the card world, because it's not just about the play on the field. It's also about where the guy is, where he's been, where he's seen, how often is he seen.
Right, 100%.
Yeah. So, guys, those baseball investments, it's time now. Jay, guess what? It's time for Jay's Fantasy Roundup. Jay's got fantasy advice for you. And, as usual, we can't pack this.
All right, so we just talked about having only 6 weeks left in the NBA season, so now is the crunch time, right? This is now where you're making that playoff push. 2 guys we talked about last week, as a matter of fact, they're still not owned in 100% of leagues, and that's Devin Vassell, who was the player from Spurs that actually benefited hugely from the trade deadline. He's still available almost 30% of leagues, so just go check and see if the guy's still on the waiver wire. And also Cameron Johnson. He's basically the guy that took over a majority of the minutes for Chris Paul when he went down with a thumb injury. He's available on almost 50% of Yahoo leagues, so this is somebody that, if he's out there, you want to grab this guy, because this is a guy that's going to get you to the playoff push. If he's not available, 2 more Suns guys just to mention that maybe go grab, late flyers on Aaron Holiday and Cam Payne. And I know Cam Payne's out right now with a wrist injury, but it's not a serious wrist injury, so he should only miss a couple of games and he'll be back. But they're going to be vying for time because Cameron Johnson can't soak up. He was already playing a lot when Chris Paul got hurt, so he can't soak up all of those minutes.
Well, you got to remember, too, those Suns teams have a ton of possessions.
Right.
And that's key when you're talking about fantasy.
That's
what
what I
might
mean.
not even be high shooting percentages.
Yes.
It's just opportunity.
Yes, these guys are getting opportunities with Chris Paul being out. 2 other guys I'll mention really fast, Cameron Thomas, and that's because no Ben Simmons. They're saying that he's not conditioned enough to actually be on the court yet. So he may still be a week or 10 days out from playing for the Nets after the trade because he's not in full condition. So the Ben Simmons saga continues. Same stuff with 76ers. It's like all over again.
I read something that their plan with him is that they wanted him to be 100% fresh for the playoffs to give them a little bit different look from what teams. You got to get there first.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Got to get there first, kids.
So it's like, so go look at Cameron Thomas from the Nets because he's getting a lot of playing time in his absence, and also keep an eye on, like we talked about just a couple minutes ago, is Kyrie Irving. If you held on to him, good for you. You still have to hold on to him because they haven't announced anything. But the vaccine mandate coming down from New York, I want to see what happens if they allow him to be on the court in New York, because that's going to be huge for the Nets. That's going to be a huge push, because we talked about that last week. He was only playing in like 8 of the 26 games that were left. Because
do you think this becomes a legal thing where he basically goes and says, hey, it's not required to have a vaccine now because there's no longer a mask mandate?
Well, they've already started to hit, not just from the NBA, but from other major corporations and companies, that employees that were working there are no longer working there or were forced into getting the vaccine and that type of stuff. So all that stuff's going to play out.
Right.
I think it's going to take a lot longer than what this season's going to be.
Right.
But the best thing for the NBA to do is just, if they lift the mask mandate, let them come back and play.
Yes.
Because you don't want to be caught up in all the stuff that's going to be happening with these lawsuits and seeing. The less time you have, just let them play.
That's why I say whether you like Kyrie or whether you don't like him, because there's a split down the middle. Do people hate him or they like him, right? Let him come back and play because it's good for basketball. It's going to get ratings because even if you hate the guy, you're going to tune in to see what he's doing. Even if you're cheering against the guy, you're going to want to watch him. You know what I mean? It's that whole, back and forth there. So I say let him play. And then the last guy I want to mention that will move off is Brandon Clark from the Grizzlies. He does have rest of the season potential, like the rest of the season. Right now, I just looked at his last 10 games. He's averaging 13, 7, and 2 over his last 10 games. So it's not like this big, game-winning thing, but this is a guy that you're going to put in your lineup every week, and he's going to give you potential.
And you know what else he's found? In the comment boxes that shows and the cheap slab boxes. He's a guy that could be a sneaky little $10 or $15 slab pickup that becomes an $80 slab in the playoffs.
You never know.
Last thing before we get on out of here, Kobe Covington, Jorge Masvidal this weekend. I know a lot of you guys are UFC fans. That fight's happening here in Las Vegas at T-Mobile on Saturday night. I'm super stoked to see it. It's one of those fights that was brewing in the happenings because these two guys, if you haven't watched the promo from the UFC that they put out, go take a couple minutes and watch the promo. They were best friends. They were training partners. They lived together for years and trained with each other for years. Then all of a sudden they had a falling out because Covington started to get more notoriety than Jorge Masvidal, and he lost 2 fights in a row, and the UFC was about to cut him. And the whole thing with Kobe Covington is everybody thinks he's this brash showman guy. Like, no, they don't realize the UFC. He was on a win streak, and the UFC was going to cut him because Dana White said that his fighting style was boring, and he added nothing to the UFC. So if somebody comes to you and tells you, "Hey, you're boring, and I don't like your fighting style, we're going to cut you," and you're winning,
right?
You have to change things up. So instantly, he took on a persona where, he's now this brash guy. He's got all these hot chicks. He's hanging out. He's partying. He's doing all this, wearing gold, and talking trash to everybody, wearing MAGA hats with the Trump, or going to all the Trump rallies.
Right,
so he made a persona for himself. So good for him. He actually thought about, hey, I don't want to get cut.
Right,
I want to be. He then went on to be the champion.
Right.
He's no longer the champion. But this fight this weekend, it's very bad blood. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I will be tuning in. I will be watching. I probably am going to go to the fight. Seems like I just sold a car for a lot of money over the weekend.
Might as well, right?
Might as well enjoy this one in person.
This sounds like a WWE, but like with real fighting.
No, it is.
100%.
It is.
100%.
Isn't there? There's UFC product coming out soon too, right?
So UFC Prism is going to be out in about almost a month if they don't give us another push, like they've been doing with
like
all
everybody
the
else.
products.
Yeah, and if it's half as good as it was last year, it's going to be amazing.
So a great thing about it is anybody that wasn't a rookie in last year's product is going to be a rookie in this year because last year was its first ever Prism, the first ever Prism product for the UFC. So this is the second year of it. We're going to have Patty Pimlet, Patty the Baddie. Everybody's high on. The kid's amazing. Everybody loves the kid. He's just out there knocking people out, throwing bombs. So he's going to have a rookie card in this one this year. And they have the color bursts and all the different stuff in the product. We will have some here in the shop. We'll probably do some breaks on Whatnot and also on Facebook with it as well. But yes, it's coming out next month. Get ready. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully Patty the Baddie wins his next fight. It's going to just skyrocket.
Awesome. What other products do we have coming out this week?
So this week, nothing is going to be released. It's going to be first off the line contenders this week, and then they always do first off the line the first week, and then the next week they release a product. So
we
this
got
is
contenders coming out though.
Yes, that's the first big football product that has came out this year. Yeah. The rest have been like okay with Elements and Gold Standard and
Mosaic was nice. Mosaic's been nice. I mean the cases and parallels are amazing.
Yeah, and so but this is the first main one where you get those cracked ice numbered to 23 quarterbacks, and we're talking we got 5 of them in this year's class that you could hit numbered to 23 cracked ice parallels that we all know my story where
wide receivers and all that stuff are big this year.
I sold the Patrick Mahomes cracked ice numbered to 23 rookie for $783 because I remember it like it was yesterday. Then that card ended up selling for just over $100,000 3.5 years later. So
let's hope that Herbert doesn't do that.
and of course the banker tells me this morning. The banker that tells me this morning is like, "Why would you sell that card? That card's gonna be like $100,000." I'm like, "Well, good thing is I could go buy the 9 of 10 that's posted on eBay right now for $11,000, and so I got the card back out and I got $9,000.
We're always giving deals here at Gameday.
Always the best of the best.
But yeah, so and then we stocked up new product in shops. So come see us here. We got a bunch. We got some more stuff for Whatnot and everything. And speaking of Whatnot, first off, thank you everybody who participated in the 2000 giveaway, follower giveaway. And my man Heap, congratulations. He's coming to Las Vegas. He's got he's got some airfare. He's got 2 tickets to his choice of Raiders game, and he's staying at the M Resort Hotel Casino, courtesy of Santa Jimmy. That's what they're calling him every
Santa.
I love it. Santa Jimmy.
Well, you know what's crazy though, Steve? We just gave away the 2000 member giveaway.
Yeah.
And we're 300 away.
We were 27. we gained in the last 4 days. 600 followers on Whatnot. I mean, it's amazing that you guys are loving it and what we're doing. We're going to continue to rock through it. We actually added another channel already. I guarantee you we're the fastest to add a second channel by far. Have to be. Because we added a second channel in under 3 weeks. So our Gameday Las Vegas page should be going live sometime later this week. And we've got a bunch of specialty shows we're going to be running with now too. We started last week. We're actually bringing the soccer show back today. So we got the soccer singles with Argentina. that will be today on Whatnot. That will be at 3 p.m. Pacific. And then, of course, J-Up, 12:30 today. So just a little while from now, J-Up will be on. He'll be doing some singles, and he'll be doing some first. He's in the back tonight. And I think we're going to rock a break with you tonight. So, we're going to have a little break tonight. I think we'll probably find a football break that'll be real fun and affordable for everybody. So you're going to want to tune in for that. Yeah. Make sure you follow us at Gameday LV. Shout out to Hoodie. Shout out to Johnny Ripper. They held the fort down on Whatnot this weekend and crushed it. Had a great time. So Jimmy may or may not be in Dallas this weekend. Who knows? He's itching, guys. He's itching. He knows he wants to take me too.
I do. I do want to fly out, and I was just talking. I was talking to the wife. They do have a big trade night on Thursday night, so maybe we'll fly out Thursday afternoon, go into the trade night, stay at the show Friday, fly back late Friday night or first thing Saturday morning. We'll see. You might see your game day crew in Dallas.
If so, there's a couple of you that I know that are going to watch the podcast. You guys are here. I do. I promise that. So.
Thanks, CB47. Appreciate you, boys.
Oh, man, it was so much fun. Got to catch up there. All right, guys. Until we see you next time. That's it for the Gameday Huddle. Let's go.
Let's go.
Monster hunting.
Hey everybody, we're coming live to you from the Game Day studio here at the Game Day Card Shop. Make sure you join us every Monday at 12:30 Pacific.